Kale stepped off the starship, his boots crunching lightly on the smooth, silver-colored ground of the alien planet. The air smelled faintly metallic and the sky shimmered in hues of violet and gold. He had traveled across many light years, seeking a new life and a chance to use his skills for something meaningful. Yet he never imagined that within hours of arriving, his life would change forever. The planet, known to the galaxy as Virelia, was ruled by a wise and powerful queen. Her people were technologically advanced, with cities that floated above the ground and vehicles that moved without sound. Kale had come as an engineer, hoping to help improve interstellar energy systems. But fate had other plans. He was walking through the palace gardens, taking in the alien flora that glowed softly under the twilight sky. The air was warm and calm, and a gentle breeze carried the scent of violet-hued flowers. As he admired the alien beauty, a sudden cry echoed from nearby. Kale's training kicked in immediately. He ran toward the sound, instincts sharp and senses alert. Behind a line of luminous trees, he saw a group of shadowy figures surrounding a young woman. She was clearly outnumbered, and fear shone in her wide golden eyes. Kale did not hesitate. He pulled a small energy pistol from his belt, a compact device he had designed for emergencies, and fired a warning shot that lit up the dark. The intruders turned, startled, and Kale rushed forward using hand-to-hand combat skills he had honed on Earth. Within moments, the attackers fled, their sleek weapons sparking in panic. The young woman collapsed onto the soft grass, breathing heavily but safe. Kale knelt beside her, checking for injuries. You saved me," she whispered, her voice trembling. Her hair shimmered with a silver tint under the alien sky, and her eyes reflected both fear and admiration. Kale gave her a reassuring nod. "You're safe now. Are you hurt anywhere?" I think I'm okay," she said, brushing herself off. I thought I would never see the morning." Kale helped her to her feet. "I'm Kale, I'm from Earth, who are you?" She looked at him carefully, her gaze sharp despite her shaken state. "I'm Lyra, Princess Lyra." The words carried a quiet authority, though she was clearly young. You protected me. Not many outsiders would risk themselves for the royal family." Kale felt a flicker of unease. He had not expected to meet royalty, let alone save her life. I was just in the right place at the right time." Lyra studied him for a long moment. "No," she said firmly. "It was courage, not luck. You are different from other strangers." Before Kale could respond, the sound of approaching footsteps echoed through the garden. Lyra turned, her expression changing instantly from relief to concern. A tall figure in flowing robes approached, moving with an elegance that commanded attention. Kale felt a sense of awe. This was the Queen. "You have intervened." The Queen's voice was calm but firm, carrying across the garden. Her eyes, deep and intelligent, fixed on Kale. "And you saved my daughter." Kale bowed slightly, unsure how to behave in front of royalty. "Yes, Your Majesty." The Queen raised a hand, stopping him. "Enough, I see the truth in your actions. You did not hesitate. That is rare among outsiders." Lyra stepped closer, her hand brushing Kale's arm lightly in gratitude. "Mother, he saved me. He was brave. He deserves recognition." The Queen's gaze softened, though it remained commanding. "Bravery is valuable. Loyalty even more so. I will not forget this act." She looked at Kale, her expression unreadable. "You must stay within the palace for now. My daughter's safety is my responsibility, and clearly it cannot be left to chance." Kale blinked, surprise clear on his face. I can't just stay. I came here to work on energy projects." The Queen shook her head. "The threat you just prevented is only one of many. There are those who would seek to harm my daughter to control this planet's technology. You will remain here not as a guest, but as her protector." Kale's mind raced. His mission was important, but he could not ignore the Queen's command, and there was no way he could refuse her. His heart thumped in his chest, a mixture of excitement and fear. Lyra stepped closer to Kale, her eyes shining with trust. "Please, Kale, stay with me. Help me. I don't want to live in fear." Kale took a deep breath. "I will do it," he said finally. "I will protect you, Princess." The Queen nodded, her expression approving. "Then it is decided. You will learn our ways, and you will serve not just as a protector, but as a bridge between our people and the outside world." Over the next few hours, Kale was led through the palace halls, marveling at the architecture and technology that surrounded him. Walls shimmered with holographic displays showing star systems, planetary maps, and energy flows. Robotic servants moved silently along the floors, attending to guests and staff. Kale felt both amazed and slightly overwhelmed. Lyra walked beside him, sharing small stories about her life in the palace. She spoke of lessons in diplomacy, history, and science, but Kale could see the hint of loneliness in her words. Despite the luxury and splendor, she had grown up under constant watch, her freedom limited. "I've never met anyone like you," Lyra said softly, glancing at him. "Most people either fear me or try to impress me. But you just acted. No hesitation, no thought of reward." Kale smiled faintly. "I don't think that makes me special. I just couldn't let anything happen to you." Lyra looked at him with admiration, and Kale noticed a small smile tug at the corners of her lips. In that moment, he understood that their bond was beginning, built not on titles or power, but on trust and courage. Later, Kale met with the Queen privately. She explained the dangers facing her daughter and the political tensions across the galaxy. Several factions coveted Virelia's advanced technology, and Lyra's life had become a target. "You will face challenges you cannot yet imagine," the Queen said. "Your Earth skills will help, but you must also learn our ways. Loyalty, strategy, and awareness of our culture are essential. Fail, and the consequences will be grave, not just for my daughter, but for the entire planet." Kyle nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will do my best." The Queen studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "Good, tomorrow your training begins. You will learn combat, defense, and etiquette. You will walk the palace grounds, observe, and protect. Your life and Lyra's are now connected." Kale left the Queen's chambers feeling both honored and burdened. He was far from home, facing challenges unlike any he had known. Yet, for the first time in a long while, he felt a sense of purpose stronger than fear. He would protect this young princess. He would learn, adapt, and survive. That night, Kyle walked through the palace gardens again, thinking of the day's events. Stars sparkled overhead, larger and brighter than any he had seen on Earth. He knew the galaxy was vast, full of wonders and dangers alike. And somehow, in the middle of it all, he had found a reason to stand tall, to fight, and to belong. Princess Lyra watched him from a balcony above, her expression thoughtful. For the first time, she felt hope. Hope that someone from another world could see her not as a princess, but as a person. Someone who would stand by her, protect her, and perhaps even teach her to face the challenges ahead with courage. As Kale looked up at the stars, he did not yet know the dangers that would come, or the friends and enemies he would meet, but he knew one thing with certainty. He would never let the princess fall. Not now. Not ever. The adventure had begun, and neither of them would ever be the same again. The next morning, the palace was alive with a strange mix of quiet energy and careful tension. Kale walked through the halls, still in awe of the alien architecture. Smooth walls pulsed with soft light, and corridors curved in ways that made it easy to get lost if one was not careful. But Kale's attention was not on the palace itself. It was on what awaited him. The Queen had summoned him for his first lesson in becoming a protector. He did not know exactly what to expect, but he knew it would be demanding. Kale had been trained on Earth in combat, strategy, and survival. Yet the Queen made it clear that life on Virelia required more than just strength. He entered the main training hall, a massive chamber with high ceilings and holographic projections floating in midair. Figures moved through the air in fluid motions, guards practicing, drones hovering silently, and instructors demonstrating techniques. The air hummed faintly with energy. "Kale," a voice called, firm but welcoming. He turned to see Captain Rin, a tall, muscular Virelian who would oversee Kale's training. "You will not only learn to protect, but to anticipate, to adapt, and to act before danger even appears." Kyle nodded. "I understand." Captain Rin gestured to the holographic interface in the center of the room. "First, we begin with observation. Your job as a protector is not only to fight, but to notice. Small details matter. A shadow, a whisper, a gesture. These can save lives." Kale studied the holograms carefully. Simulations of attackers appeared, some armed with energy weapons, others attempting stealth. Kale moved quickly, responding to each threat with calm precision. He dodged, blocked, and countered, adapting his Earth-trained techniques to the alien physics of the holographic arena. "You have good instincts," Captain Rin said, watching, "but your reactions are too linear. Virelia's attackers are not predictable. You must think ahead, Kale nodded. Then I'll practice until I get it right. Hours passed in the chamber and Kale's body grew tired, but his mind sharpened. Each simulation forced him to adapt, to think differently, to understand alien technology and strategies. By midday, sweat glistened on his forehead and his muscles ached, but Kale felt alive in a way he had not in years. Later, he was introduced to the palace's unique defense systems. Walls could become energy shields, doors could shift instantly, and even the gardens contained traps that could be activated at a moment's notice. Kale learned how to use these tools to protect Lyra, integrating his Earth knowledge with Virelian technology. During a short break, Princess Lyra joined him. She had changed from the frightened girl he saved into someone more confident and determined. "You're doing well," she said, her golden eyes bright. "I've never seen anyone adapt so quickly." Kale smiled faintly. "It's easy to work when the stakes are this high. I can't imagine letting anything happen to you." Lyra's expression softened. "I feel safer with you around. But sometimes I wonder if we can really trust all the people in this palace. There are spies and enemies everywhere." Kale placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Then we watch together. You're not alone, Lyra. I'll protect you. That's my promise." Lyra nodded, a small smile forming. "I know, and I trust you." The day continued with lessons in alien combat techniques. Kale learned to move silently across surfaces that seemed impossible to walk on, to wield weapons unfamiliar to him, and to use energy shields that could protect him and Lyra from multiple attackers. He even trained in zero-gravity chambers where the rules of movement were completely different, and precision was everything. Despite the intensity, Kyle found the work exhilarating. He had faced danger before, but this was unlike anything on Earth. Every lesson made him stronger, faster, and smarter. He could feel himself becoming not just a protector, but a part of this world. That evening, the Queen summoned Kale to her private chambers. Lyra was present, standing quietly beside her mother. The Queen's expression was serene but commanding. "You have done well today, Kale," she said. "You adapt quickly and you learn with purpose. But bravery alone is not enough. Loyalty, wisdom, and understanding of our culture are equally important." Kale bowed respectfully. "I will learn everything, Your Majesty." "I want to serve well," the Queen nodded. "Good. You will not be allowed to leave the palace. Your duty is not temporary. You are now a part of Lyra's life in a way that goes beyond protection. You will guide her, learn from her, and become a trusted ally to this kingdom." Kale felt a mix of honor and weight. He had not expected such responsibility, nor had he imagined staying here for more than a few weeks. But the Queen's words carried no room for refusal. Lyra stepped forward. "Kyle, I hope you understand. Staying here is not just about duty, it's about trust. I need someone I can rely on, someone who will act without hesitation. I believe you can be that person." Kale's eyes met hers. "I won't let you down, Lyra, I promise." Over the following days, Kale's training continued with even greater intensity. He began to patrol the palace grounds alongside the Virelian guards, observing everything and everyone. He learned to detect subtle signs of danger, a shift in the wind that could signal movement, a shadow in the corner that others might miss, a tone of voice that betrayed hidden motives. Lyra often accompanied him, practicing defensive techniques and learning strategy. Kale noticed how intelligent and quick-witted she was. She asked questions, tested him, and sometimes surprised him with her clever solutions to problems. It was clear she would grow into a remarkable leader one day. One afternoon, Kale noticed something unusual. A group of palace servants whispered near a restricted area. Their movements were too coordinated to be casual, and Kale's instincts told him to investigate. Quietly, he followed them and discovered a hidden passage leading to the outer wall of the palace. He reported the finding to Captain Rin, who nodded gravely. "Good work, Kale. This passage is known only to a few. You have eyes like a hawk. Remember this. The smallest detail can save lives. Never underestimate your own senses." That evening, Kale and Lyra walked through the palace gardens again. The twin moons of Virelia hung low in the sky, casting a silver glow over the flowers. "You've changed a lot in just a few days," Lyra said softly. "You've become stronger, faster, smarter. I feel safer just knowing you're here." Kale looked at her, a hint of a smile on his lips. "I feel the same, but I know danger is always around the corner. That's why we have to be ready. Lyra nodded. I want to learn from you. Teach me everything you know. Kale placed a hand on her shoulder gently. We'll learn together. You're stronger than you realize, and with your intelligence and my experience we can face anything. For the first time, Kale felt a sense of belonging. On this distant planet among people whose ways were strange yet fascinating, he had a purpose. He was not just a visitor. He was a protector, a teacher, and perhaps a friend. The night passed quietly, but Kale knew it was only the calm before the storm. The rogue factions, the enemies of the Queen, and the political tensions that ran through Virelia were still out there. He could sense it, as could Lyra. Danger would return, stronger and more cunning than before. But Kale was ready. As he looked at the stars above the palace, he felt a quiet determination settle in his heart. He would protect Lyra. He would learn everything necessary to keep her safe. And he would prove to the Queen and to himself that humans, even far from Earth, could make a difference. The journey had only just begun. But Kale already knew one truth. Courage, loyalty, and quick thinking could change the course of events even on a distant world, and he was prepared to face whatever came next, no matter how impossible it seemed. The palace of Virelia had never seemed so quiet. The soft hum of hovering drones filled the halls, and the gardens glowed under the twin moons. Kale walked alongside Princess Lyra, scanning every corner with trained eyes. Though the day appeared calm, his instincts told him otherwise. Kyle had grown accustomed to the routines of palace life, but he knew that danger could appear at any moment. In the past few days, he had noticed subtle signs: whispered conversations, hurried glances, and unusual shifts in patrol patterns. Someone was planning something, and Kale intended to uncover it before it became too late. Lyra noticed his tense expression. "Kyle, you're thinking again," she said lightly. Kyle shook his head. "I can't help it. I see things others might miss. I just have a feeling something is wrong." Lyra frowned. "Do you think it's the same people who tried to attack me before?" "Possibly," Kyle replied. "Or it could be someone else. Virelia has many who would want to gain power by harming you. We need to be ready for anything." They entered a training hall where Captain Rin awaited. Today's exercise was different. Instead of standard combat drills, Kale was tasked with tracking simulated threats in a complex maze of corridors, hidden doors, and holographic illusions. "You must use all your senses," Captain Rin instructed. "Not just sight, not just hearing. Anticipate the unexpected. The safety of the princess and the palace depends on your awareness." Kyle nodded. He moved through the maze with careful precision, testing his reflexes and perception. Every shadow, every faint sound, every unusual movement became a clue. By the end of the exercise, he had successfully neutralized every simulated attacker and located every hidden passage. Captain Rin studied him with approval. "Good, Kale, you are learning quickly. But remember, simulations are easier than reality. In a real attack, people will not follow predictable patterns. You must think beyond what you see." Later, Kale and Lyra explored the palace gardens. Lyra had insisted on joining him during the patrols, and Kale was happy to teach her defensive techniques. They practiced moving silently, hiding and using the environment to their advantage. Lyra learned fast, impressing Kale with her sharp mind and quick reflexes. "You are improving," Kale said, adjusting her stance during a training exercise. Lyra smiled. "I'm trying. I don't want anyone to hurt the palace or anyone inside." "Especially me," Kale nodded. "And you won't. Not while I'm here." As they trained, Kyle noticed a small group of palace staff moving in an unusual pattern near the outer walls. Their whispers carried too far, their glances too careful. Kale motioned for Lyra to stay back and followed the group quietly. Hidden behind the trees, he observed them. They carried small devices and seemed to be marking positions along the palace walls. Kale's heart tightened. This was no ordinary activity. Someone was planning a breach. He moved swiftly and silently to intercept them. Using a combination of stealth and precision, he disarmed the group and secured the devices. He realized these were early signals of a larger attack plan, perhaps a test run. Reporting immediately to Captain Rin and the Queen, Kale described what he had discovered. The Queen listened carefully, her expression calm but serious. "You have done well," she said. "This confirms what we feared. There are those who plot against us, watching for weaknesses. Your vigilance has prevented the first step of an attack." Kale bowed. "Thank you, Your Majesty." I will continue to monitor the palace and protect Lyra at all costs. Lyra approached, placing a hand on his arm. Kale, you're amazing. You always notice things that others miss. I feel safer with you around. Kyle smiled faintly. You don't have to feel safe. You are safe. That is my job. The following days were tense. Kale increased patrols, reviewed palace security systems, and trained Lyra in advanced defensive strategies. The bond between Protector and Princess grew stronger with every passing day. Lyra's confidence increased as she learned to anticipate threats, and Kale gained a deeper understanding of the palace's inner workings. One night, Kale detected movement near the palace's eastern wall. He followed the shadows and discovered a hidden tunnel partially concealed beneath flowering vines. Inside, he found equipment that suggested an imminent intrusion: energy cutters, advanced weapons, and maps of the palace interior. Kale realized this was not a small attack. It was a planned invasion. The rogue faction was testing the palace defenses, preparing for a larger strike. He immediately contacted Captain Rin, who assembled a team of elite guards. Kale, you have uncovered the heart of their plan, Captain Rin said. This is why we train constantly. Now we prepare for what is coming. Kale nodded. We can't let them succeed. Lyra's life and the future of Virelia depend on it. Over the next few days, Kale and Lyra worked tirelessly to strengthen defenses. They set up traps, improved communication lines, and trained palace staff in emergency protocols. Lyra proved to be quick and capable, often suggesting clever strategies that Kale had not considered. Together, they became a formidable team. During one evening patrol, Lyra asked, Kale, what will happen if they come? Will we be able to stop them? Kyle looked at her seriously. We have prepared as best as we can. But we must also stay calm, think clearly, and act decisively. Panic is our enemy. Courage is our weapon. Lyra nodded, her eyes reflecting determination. I will do my part. I promise. Kale felt a surge of pride. The princess he had saved so recently was becoming a true leader, someone who could face danger with intelligence and courage. Together, they could protect the palace and its people. But Kale knew that their vigilance would soon be tested. The rogue faction would not wait forever. Every shadow, every whisper, and every movement could signal an attack. He felt the weight of responsibility, but it strengthened his resolve. One evening, as Kale and Lyra were reviewing security reports, an urgent alert flashed on the central holographic display. Sensors indicated unusual energy readings near the northern gates. Kyle's instincts told him this was the start of something significant. Get the guards ready, Kyle ordered. We don't know what's coming, but we'll face it together. Lyra stood beside him, her hand brushing against his arm. I'm ready. Let's protect our home. Kyle felt a sense of unity he had never experienced before. He was no longer just a visitor or a temporary protector. He was part of a team, part of a family bound by courage and loyalty. As night fell, the palace of Virelia seemed quiet again, but Kale knew the shadows were moving, and the enemy was watching. Every corner, every corridor, and every wall could conceal danger. He tightened his grip on his weapon, his mind alert, ready for whatever came next. For the first time, Kale truly understood what it meant to be a protector. It was not just about strength or skill. It was about foresight, trust, and unwavering commitment. And he would not fail. Not for Lyra, not for the Queen, and not for the people of Virelia. The shadows of danger were closing in, but Kale was ready. The first real test of his courage and training had arrived, and he would meet it head-on. The night air around the palace was tense, heavier than usual. Kyle stood atop one of the high walls, his eyes scanning the horizon. The twin moons cast long shadows across the glowing gardens below, but the calm was only an illusion. Kale could sense it in every vibration of the ground, every whisper of the wind. The rogue faction was coming. Kale, Captain Rin's voice crackled in his communicator. Sensors confirm multiple unauthorized ships approaching from the northern sector. They are armed and moving fast. You must be ready. Kale's jaw tightened. Understood. I'll coordinate the defenses. He glanced back at Princess Lyra, who stood nearby with determination in her golden eyes. Lyra, stay behind me and follow my instructions exactly. Trust me, Lyra nodded. I trust you, Kyle. Let's protect the palace together. The first signs of the attack appeared moments later. Small craft darted silently across the skies. Using stealth technology to avoid detection, Kyle activated the palace's defense grid, causing energy shields to rise along the northern perimeter. Holographic alarms flashed throughout the walls, signaling intrusion points and potential threats. The rogue faction's first wave hit quickly. Energy blasts streaked across the sky, striking the walls and forcing Kale and the guards to move swiftly. Kale coordinated the palace defenses like a seasoned general, directing guards to intercept attackers while securing Princess Lyra in a safe area. Captain Rin, cover the west wing. I'll handle the northern breach. Kale shouted over the noise. Kale moved through the battlefield with precision, using both his earth-honed combat skills and the alien techniques he had learned. He dodged blasts, neutralized attackers, and guided his team through the chaos. The palace walls shone with protective energy fields, shimmering under the impact of alien weapons. Amid the chaos, Lyra watched from a secure balcony. She had trained for this moment, and her quick thinking proved invaluable. When a small group of intruders tried to bypass the guards, she activated a hidden defense mechanism Kale had taught her to use, stopping them instantly. Kale's eyes widened with respect. "Well done, Lyra," he shouted. "Stay sharp. The main force is coming." The rogue faction was relentless. Larger ships hovered overhead, deploying heavily armed soldiers who moved with precision and coordination. Kale realized that this was more than a simple attack. It was an all-out assault designed to capture Lyra and seize control of the palace. He led a counterattack, moving through corridors and using the palace's secret passages to flank the enemy. Guards followed his lead, inspired by his courage and quick thinking. Kale's training sessions, simulations, and observations had prepared him for this moment. But the real battle tested everything he knew. At one point, Kale faced a group of elite attackers armed with energy blades. He fought with a combination of speed and strategy, disarming one opponent and using his momentum to push another into a defensive trap set by the palace guards. Each movement was calculated, precise, and effective. Meanwhile, Lyra proved herself in ways Kale had not fully anticipated. Using a combination of defensive skills and strategic thinking, she guided trapped guards to safety and helped neutralize threats without panicking. Kale felt a surge of pride. The princess he had saved had grown into a formidable ally. As the battle raged, Kale noticed a particularly skilled opponent sneaking toward Lyra. Without hesitation, he intercepted the attacker, using a mix of earth combat techniques and Varelian skills to subdue them. Lyra's eyes met his, filled with relief and gratitude. "You're incredible, Kale," she shouted over the noise. Kale gave a quick nod. "Stay close. I've got you," the queen observed from her command chamber, watching the defense of her palace unfold. She had entrusted Kale with her daughter's safety, and he was proving every bit worthy of that trust. Her eyes softened as she saw the bond between protector and princess, and the confidence Lyra displayed. Minutes felt like hours as the battle continued. Kale coordinated defenses, led charges against intruders, and ensured that the palace remained secure. Every step was a calculated risk, but Kale's presence inspired courage in the guards and stability in the palace staff. Finally, the main enemy leader emerged from the chaos, a tall figure in advanced armor, wielding energy weapons with lethal precision. Kyle realized this was the mastermind behind the attack. "You will not take the princess," Kyle shouted, stepping forward to confront him. The leader smirked, advancing with swift movements. Kale met him head-on, using both his strength and strategy. The fight was intense, with energy blades clashing and sparks flying. Kale adapted quickly, exploiting every weakness in his opponent's attacks, remembering every lesson from his training. Lyra, from a distance, monitored the situation and activated additional defenses, cutting off possible escape routes for the enemy. Kale could feel the battle turning in their favor. The combination of human ingenuity and Varelian technology was overwhelming the attackers. With one final maneuver, Kale disarmed the enemy leader, pushing him back into a containment field designed by the palace engineers. The rogue faction's soldiers, seeing their leader defeated, retreated in disarray. The energy shield stabilized, and the palace was secure once more. Kyle sank to one knee, breathing heavily but relieved. Lyra rushed to his side, her face shining with pride. "We did it," she said softly. "We actually did it." Kyle smiled, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Yes, together." The queen entered the battlefield chamber, her presence commanding but warm. She approached Kale and Lyra, her eyes filled with approval. "Kale," she said, her voice steady, "you have exceeded all expectations. You protected my daughter, saved the palace and led our forces with courage and intelligence. You are more than a protector. You are a hero." Kale bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only did what needed to be done." The Queen placed a hand on his shoulder. "And that is why you cannot leave. Your role is now permanent. You are the guardian of Princess Lyra, and your place is here with us." Kale looked at Lyra, who nodded in understanding. He realized that leaving was no longer an option, not because he had to, but because he wanted to be here. He had found purpose, friendship, and trust on this planet. "I accept," Kale said firmly. "I will stay and continue to protect Lyra, the palace, and Veralia itself." Lyra smiled brightly, relief and gratitude in her eyes. "I'm glad. We'll face anything together." The Queen studied him for a moment longer, then nodded. "Very well. You have earned your place among us. And remember, Kale, the peace we have now is fragile. Threats will always come, but with your courage and loyalty, I am confident we can face them." Kale stood tall, feeling the weight of his responsibility and the strength it gave him. He had not only protected a princess, but had proven that a human could make a difference on a distant world. That night, as the palace quieted and the twin moons shone down, Kale walked through the gardens with Lyra. The flowers swayed gently, their glow calm and reassuring. Kale reflected on the battle, on the courage of Lyra, and on his own journey from Earth to this alien world. "You were amazing today," Lyra said softly. "I never doubted you, but seeing you in action..." "It was incredible," Kale smiled. "We did it together. You were just as important as I was." Lyra reached out, brushing her hand against his. "I know, and I'm glad you're here. Not just as my protector, but as someone I can trust completely." Kale felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had come to Veralia as a visitor, but he had become something more. Someone who mattered, someone who could make a difference, and someone who had found a place to belong. As dawn approached, the palace stood safe and secure, a testament to bravery, strategy, and unity. But Kale knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was full of dangers, and the rogue faction might return. Yet for now, peace reigned, and Kale was ready for whatever came next. The first true battle had been won, and Kale had proven that courage, loyalty, and intelligence could overcome even the greatest threats. Veralia was safe for now, and he, the guardian of Princess Lyra, would ensure it stayed that way. The palace of Veralia was calm in the morning after the night's chaos. Kale walked along the glowing gardens, his boots barely making a sound on the smooth ground. Though the battle had ended, the echoes of energy blasts and the intensity of the fight were still fresh in his mind. He had faced danger head-on and emerged victorious, but he knew that the life of a protector was never truly quiet. Princess Lyra joined him, her golden eyes reflecting the soft light of the twin moons, still lingering in the early dawn sky. "Kale," she said softly, "I've been thinking. The palace is safe for now, but the threats are not gone. How do we make sure we are always ready?" Kyle nodded. "We train, we watch, and we prepare. Every day counts. We cannot let our guard down, not even for a moment." Lyra smiled faintly. "I know, but I'm not afraid anymore. Not with you here." Kale felt a warmth in his chest he had not experienced before. For months he had traveled the galaxy searching for purpose. He had found it here, not just in duty, but in trust, loyalty, and the bond he shared with Lyra. Later that morning, the Queen called Kale to her chambers. Lyra accompanied him, walking silently beside her protector. The Queen's expression was calm, but her presence carried authority. "Kale," she said, her voice steady, "your actions during the assault have proven your courage, intelligence, and loyalty. You have saved my daughter and the palace. For this I am grateful." Kale bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. It was my duty, and I would do it again." The Queen studied him carefully, then nodded. "This is why you cannot leave. You are no longer a temporary protector. You are the guardian of Princess Lyra, and your role here is permanent. Your place is with us, not just in defense, but in guidance, strategy, and leadership." Kyle's heart swelled with a mixture of honor and responsibility. "I accept, Your Majesty. I will stay and serve as long as I am needed." Lyra reached out, brushing Kale's arm with a gentle smile. "I'm glad. You're not just my protector anymore, Kale. You're my friend, my mentor, and my guide. We'll face everything together." Kyle nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. He had found his place in this alien world, among people who respected him, trusted him, and relied on him. He was no longer an outsider. He was part of something greater than himself. Over the following weeks, life at the palace settled into a new rhythm. Kale continued his training and patrols, but now with a sense of purpose that went beyond immediate danger. He worked alongside the Queen's advisors, learning the intricacies of Virelian politics, diplomacy, and strategy. Every day brought new challenges, but Kale faced them with confidence. Princess Lyra's confidence grew as well. She trained tirelessly, learning advanced defensive techniques, problem-solving strategies, and leadership skills. Kale guided her, teaching patience, focus, and foresight. Together, they became a formidable team, ready for whatever threats the galaxy might bring. One afternoon, as Kale reviewed security protocols in the command chamber, Lyra entered with a small group of palace guards. "Kale, I want to test a new strategy I came up with," she said, her eyes shining with determination. Kale smiled faintly. "Let's see what you've got, Princess." They ran simulations using holographic projections to anticipate attacks and test defense strategies. Kyle watched Lyra's quick thinking, her ability to adapt and plan ahead. He realized that the princess he had saved months ago was now a capable leader in her own right, ready to face challenges with intelligence and courage. After the exercises, they walked through the palace gardens. The air was calm, filled with the soft hum of hovering drones and the gentle glow of alien flora. Kale reflected on how far they had both come, from the night of the first assassination attempt to the successful defense of the palace. "You've taught me so much," Lyra said softly. "Not just how to defend myself, but how to think ahead, how to be patient, and how to trust myself. I couldn't have done this without you, Kale." Kale placed a hand on her shoulder gently. "And you've taught me as well, Lyra. You've shown courage, intelligence, and determination that inspire everyone around you. Protecting you has been an honor, but seeing you grow, that's the true reward." Lyra smiled, her golden eyes meeting his. "Then we keep learning. Together." As weeks passed, Kale's presence became a cornerstone of the palace. The Queen relied on him not just as a guardian, but as an advisor. He helped train new recruits, improve defenses, and prepare for potential threats from distant factions. His knowledge of Earth technology and strategy combined with Virelian innovation created an even stronger palace defense. One evening, Kale and Lyra were walking along the palace walls, watching the twin moons rise high in the sky. The air was cool, the gardens below glowing softly. "Kyle," Lyra said, breaking the quiet, "do you ever think about Earth? About your home?" Kyle smiled faintly, gazing at the distant stars. "Sometimes. But I've realized that home isn't just where you're born. It's where you belong, where you're needed, and where you make a difference. My home is here, with you, with the Queen, with the people of Virelia." Lyra nodded, understanding in her eyes. "I feel the same. You're not just here to protect me. You're here to guide, to teach, and to inspire, and I couldn't imagine this palace or my life without you." Kyle felt a quiet pride. He had come to Virelia as a stranger, but he had become a vital part of its future. He had found purpose, friendship, and trust, a life far greater than he had imagined. As the night deepened, the palace remained peaceful. The rogue faction had been defeated, but Kale knew vigilance was essential. Still, for the first time, he allowed himself a moment of calm, a moment to reflect on what he had achieved. The Queen entered the gardens quietly, observing Kale and Lyra. Her expression was proud, filled with respect and gratitude. "Kale," she said, her voice calm and commanding, "you have done more than protect my daughter. You have strengthened this palace, inspired our people, and shown that courage and loyalty can change the course of events. You are an example for all of Virelia." Kale bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will continue to serve to the best of my ability." The Queen smiled faintly. "And I have no doubt you will. Your place here is not just permanent, it is essential. Remember, Kale, peace is never guaranteed, but with you by our side, I am confident we can face any threat." Kale looked at the Queen, then at Lyra, and felt a deep sense of belonging. "I understand, and I will never fail. Not for you, not for Lyra, not for Virelia." Lyra stepped forward, her hand brushing against his. "We'll face everything together," she said softly. Kyle nodded, feeling the weight and honor of his role. He had found purpose far from Earth, in a place he had never expected to belong. He had protected a princess, defended a palace, and proven that humans could make a difference even in the vastness of space. The palace of Veralia glowed under the twin moons, peaceful for now but ready for whatever challenges the future might bring. Kale stood tall, the guardian of Princess Lyra, a symbol of courage, loyalty, and hope. He had come as a stranger, but he had found his home. He had come to protect, and in doing so he had become an inseparable part of the palace, the people, and the future of Veralia. The adventure was far from over, but Kale was ready. He had learned that true strength came not from skill alone but from loyalty, courage, and trust. And with Lyra by his side, he knew that together they could face any challenge, overcome any danger, and protect the world they had come to love. The twin moons reflected in Kale's eyes as he looked toward the horizon. His journey had begun with a simple act of courage, but it had grown into something far greater, an enduring purpose, a bond that could not be broken, and a life where he truly belonged. Kale smiled faintly, feeling the calm of the night and the weight of responsibility he carried with pride. He was a protector, a guide, a mentor, and a friend, and he would remain so forever. The story of courage, loyalty, and hope had reached a moment of peace, but the galaxy was vast, and Kale was ready for whatever adventures awaited beyond the stars.